great to be on this conference committee. I asked my staff, what happened to the last highway transportation bill in the House? You'll remember this, Congressman Young. It passed 412 to 9. And this time, the House couldn't pass a transportation bill. How could a measure that was so easy to pass a few years ago be so hard now? Well, we eliminated what we call congressionally directed spending. More members could pick important projects in their districts and states, thereby eliminating some 500-plus little engines that pulled this bill across the finish line. We had a bipartisan bill the last time that came up, and this time I'm afraid it's not, and that created some problems. And third, there are a lot of people on the House who wanted to add baggage to this train. We've heard about it already, Keystone Pipeline and such. We can't really criticize that amendment process in the Senate because our first amendment, offered by Senator Blunt of Missouri, was on family planning, on the Senate transportation bill. It was rejected. The second thing I learned from my staff is we cannot even agree on what we disagree on coming to this conference committee. Here's what I'd say is obvious. Look at the senators who've gone before me. Consider the political spectrum they represent. They reached a bipartisan agreement that passed 74 to 22. We have a bill. You have an extension of current law with a lot of extra riders. Third point I'd like to make. The bill that the House could not pass, thank goodness, managed to mobilize in my state groups that don't even talk to one another. The Chamber of Commerce and AFL-CIO, they all hated your bill. And they told me, make sure it doesn't pass. It hurts Illinois. Cuts 15% out of our federal funds for highways over the next 5 years, eliminates the 20% set aside for mass transit that's been on the books for 30 years, takes 25% out of support for Amtrak, eliminates the Tiger Grant programs, the list goes on. I salute my 2 Illinois Republican congressmen who had the courage to step up and say they wouldn't even vote for that bill as well. And the final point I want to make is this. This is not the first Keystone Pipeline. This is the second one. The first one from Alberta goes down to Roxana, Illinois, in my district, to the Conoco refinery, where they've invested $1 billion in receiving the Canadian tar sands, cleaning them up into viable products. We did this with the approval of the administration and on the ordinary course of process. Now comes Keystone XL, and the suggestion is if we can pass the bill today, gas prices will go down tomorrow. Not true. Last week on Friday, the state of Nebraska announced finally where they want to place the pipeline. And the state of Nebraska said Keystone XL pipeline, they'll need 6 to 9 months more to permit it in the state of Nebraska. So those who suggest that the federal government's dragging its feet here don't know the facts. The second point on coal ash, we've got a coal-fired ferry that goes from Manitowoc, Wisconsin to Ludington, Michigan, and drops 500 tons of coal ash in Lake Michigan each year. If you would like those 500 tons of coal ash, the people who voted for this provision, please tell me the lake we can send them to.